is TW Wrestling Talk here. Been on a hiatus the past few weeks. Um, just because I was thinking of other ideas of how to improve this this program here on YouTube. Um, let's face it. I mean, the past few weeks haven't been quite bit interesting. Um, just given for example, the main event, the way they put together, they totally changed their plans. I mean, probably for the better. Um, but originally they were not going to have a WWE Championship match, um, and they kind of changed that on the fly. So just with all the stuff going on, some of the side stories and whatnot. Um, Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been terrible, but by no means has it been great. So, I figured, it was a good time to kind of, focus on other things while I think about how this program can, be a little better. Because certainly, I think for a while, things have just been going in a direction, you know, kind of too much, summarizing what would happen on Raw and not really talk about some interesting stuff. I think it was just, I think too much summarizing and not enough debating on some in a more interesting way here. So that's what we're going to start doing here with TW Wrestling Talk. First of all, um, we're knocking on the door of Thanksgiving. For one, we're knocking on the door of Survivor Series tomorrow. So if that's gonna, I'll make predictions on match predictions for that later on. Um, but yeah, I mean, first of all, starting with the structure of TW Wrestling Talk. Um, I don't. You're not going to see any more half-hour long videos. Um, you're probably going to see things broken up into segments. Probably I'm hoping 10 minutes, as I don't want you know these half-hour videos to get avoided simply because of length. And so typically I'm going to try to put out, I'm going to do a half-hour show essentially, but it'll kind of be all questions that that come up, that have been come up at the time, at the moment in WWE, of what's going on. So they're going to be relevant to what's going on, but it's going to throw an interesting spin on things, and I think it's going to get away from just summarizing what's going on with in WWE, and what happened on Raw this past week or whatever. And it'll definitely pull from what's been going on, but it's certainly not going to be this thing where it's just kind of summarizing what happened. And so, without further ado, first of all, we're going to talk about Ryback. Um, did Ryback at Hell in a Cell, did he show enough? Did he prove enough that he can wrestle? Did he prove enough that he can be in this triple threat match that WWE now put together with him, Cena, and CM Punk for the WWE Championship? Um, some say that the match at Hell in a Cell was a disappointment, um, not because of Ryback's wrestling, but just the way that it ended, the way that it kind of ended his winning streak, the way that it was just Ryback got screwed, and they didn't like it. But I mean, WWE, they kind of backed themselves into a corner with that. Um, Although I think what they could have done to make that pay-per-view less disappointing, I think, was they could have just had. I mean, I said this before. They could have had this double damage moment where both guys are just laying kind of out of it, and wouldn't couldn't really continue the match, and they just called it, one of those unofficial ending matches. Um, and then maybe that could have set up this triple threat match here instead of, making Ryback lose, um, as a result of, the whole, Greg Maddox thing. Um, but I guess they had a plan for, this Brad Maddox, to, kind of get in the spotlight in some way. I'm sure he'll be back in some form. We saw him talking to Paul Heyman on Raw, so I would think he'll be back at some point and get some kind of negotiation. But as far as Ryback, I think he did a pretty good job in, I mean, he did what he could do in the win. They had the finish planned, and it wasn't a great match by any means, but it was interesting at least to see him in a Hell in a Cell match, in a main event against CM Punk, and I think he did an all right job. Again, there's some it was a Hell in a Cell match. There's you know that's about more some spots and you know the steel chair and using the cell, for instance. And of course, they went up to the top of the cell, and it was interesting. I thought we were going to see, maybe Ryback break CM Punk through the cell, but I think I think WWE wants to keep CM Punk healthy, so I guess they figure they're not going to have him, get broken through the cell. But it was cool to see him go up top and Ryback nails finisher up there. So I think that he got more of the crowd on his side with that match, and I think that was the important thing. Um, we didn't need to see this technical prowess, and I think him in this triple threat match will add an interesting dynamic, um, to the match and make for a good main event. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how he does, and you know I'm sure he'll have his moments, but I don't think he's gonna quite come out on top. Which leads me to next question here. What should WWE do, provide with Ryback and Cena, provided that CM Punk retains? Um, as we all know, CM Punk is most likely to retain. They could throw a curveball, but I'm not quite sure if they will do that. Given that CM Punk is most likely going to be the one to face the Rocket at the Royal Rumble. So um, I just don't quite see um, CM Punk losing the title. Unless they throw something in where CM Punk loses it and then quickly regains it. But I don't think that's going to happen. Um, and I hope that doesn't happen. What should they do with Cena after this? Well, here's what they don't do. They don't give him another title match, um, because look, the guy. I know they've had all these odd finishes, but if you go back since Raw 1000, all the title matches Cena's had, um, whether they've had good finishes or not, you go back, they had the Raw 1000 match where CM Punk or Cena was cashing in his Money in the Bank. Um, he had that one. He had the triple threat rematch at SummerSlam, which he was entitled to, um, given the screwy finish on Raw 1000 that he wasn't able to win the title. Um, but then he gets a rematch at Night of Champions. Um, he didn't get pinned at SummerSlam in that triple threat match with Big Show, but that still, okay, he's getting the third shot now. Um, yeah, and he had a draw there, but now here we are again, Survivor Series. Um, Given that WWE kind of put this match together pretty quickly, um, you had, now, plans that they might have had for, tables, ladders, and chairs. Now Now, no, they're doing it for Survivor Series. So now you kind of have an extra pay-per-view here, um, that you didn't quite plan on having a title defense. They have an extra title defense here, an extra title match that they didn't originally intend to have. Um, and here we have Cena's fourth title match, since July. So, and I mean, yeah, these matches. I mean, yeah, I mean, there was the draw, Night of Champions. There was the DQ at back on Raw 1000. But um, look, the guy. This is like almost insane. I mean, for the fourth time in all these in the past few months, Cena's getting another title match. And it makes it makes WWE look like they have no one else to put in a match other than Ryback. Although Ryback is now getting a second shot at the WWE Championship, rightfully so. They're making it they're making ways that these guys can have another title match, um, to get a rematch. But still, just the fact that they continue to do this, is just going to show that they need to get some more guys in there. Um, you know, in this span of a half year, until when The Rock announced he was going to fight at the Royal Rumble for the championship. Um, in these 6 months, it's just been going to show that, WWE needs more guys in there, because they're not getting the guy. You can only go so many controversial finishes until it just gets a little ridiculous, and you know and it becomes obvious that WWE is doing everything they can to use these guys, to fill the spots with what they have until The Rock comes around for Royal Rumble. So what you don't do is have what I would say with Cena and Ryback. I mean, who knows? I mean, Cena has been kind of feuding a little bit with Ziggler on the side, and Vicky Guerrero with this whole thing with AJ and whatnot. Just kind of been not too good in my opinion. And Ryback, I mean, I don't know. You can have Ryback face anybody, perhaps at tables, ladders, and chairs. Maybe even Cena. I mean, who knows? Um, but I would say, you know, at tables, ladders, and chairs, um, you don't have Cena and Ryback get another shot. Um, I think CM Punk should retain his title. I don't. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, WWE. I was hoping that at tables, ladders, and chairs, Cena and CM Punk could go at it, but now it's just like Cena's getting his fourth title match here, and they kind of move things up. So I think they might have to go a different direction, but we'll wait and see. Um, that'll bring me to next segment of the show.